Within OSPF areas, link state advertisements, LSAs, are used to share information about the landscape within that OSPF domain. I visualize LSAs as folders, each designed to hold a specific type of record. These folders are shared between routers and placed within the link state database, which I visualize as a file cabinet. There are several types of LSAs, but today's video will focus on two: the Type 1, known as a router LSA, and the Type 2, known as the network LSA. Here is the initial topology. We will start by accessing router 1. OSPF has already been configured on router 1, but let's verify that. This first command, show run pipe section router OSPF, shows the configured process. Another method is to use the show IP protocols command. The show IP OSPF interface brief command reveals that there are no active interfaces. For this reason, we should expect the database to be empty. And it is. Let's configure interface gig 0/0 for area 0. Interface gig 0/0 is now active in OSPF, and the database contains a type 1 generated by router 1. The contents of the folder can be viewed by adding router and the link ID 1.1.1 to the end of the previous command. The folder reveals the LSA type, the document ID, the device that generated it, the sequence number, and the number of links, along with some other information. The link record can also be seen. It reveals the network and mask associated with the link. Let's add the loopback 0 to area 0 and review the database again. There is still only one type 1, but another link record for the loopback has been added. The number of links in the folder has now been updated to 2. Each router makes one type 1 for each area it participates in. Let's view this by placing loopback 0 into area 1. There are now 2 type 1s, one for each area 0 and area 1. View the records inside the type 1 folders. This is the record for area 0 and the record for area 1. Return interface loopback 0 to area 0. Then proceed to router 2 and configure interface gig 0/0 for area 0. As expected, router 2 has generated a type 1. Take a look inside router 2's LSA and you'll see something similar to what was in router 1's. But there's a slight difference. Router 1 listed this link as a stub, but router 2 shows a transit. Let's take a look at router 1's type 1 again. It also shows a transit. This is because router 1 no longer believes it is the only OSPF speaker on the link and can forward traffic to router 2. Take a look at router 2's route table. It has the 100 network belonging to router 1's loopback 0. Beside it is an O, and according to the legend, this is an intra-area route. It was learned from a type 1, which is only shared within an area, so this checks out. There was another LSA that appeared when router 2 became a participant. This is the type 2, and there's a really good reason for it. Multiple OSPF routers on a shared link means multiple descriptions via type 1 for the same network link. With a couple of routers, this may not be much of an issue, but in larger OSPF areas, it creates unnecessary redundancy of information. This is a waste of storage. This was the reason the type 2 was created. The type 2, generated by the DR, describes the shared network, in this case, the 123.1.1.0/24 network. The records within this folder reference all the OSPF routers connected to the shared network. Instead of each type 1 containing a record for the shared network, each type 1 lists the local router's IP with a reference to the type 2. Take a look inside the type 2 by adding the network and the link ID to the end of the OSPF database command. You see the reference to routers 1 and 2. Open router 1's type 1 and see the link record that points to the type 2's link ID, which is the IP of the designated router. Now let's add router 3 to area 0 to ensure the concept of the type 2 hits home. View the OSPF database on router 3. There is now a type 1 from router 3. Viewing the type 2 also reveals the addition of router 3. This video covered the generation and use of OSPF LSA types 1 and 2, the foundational blocks of OSPF link sharing. Stay tuned for videos for the remaining LSA types.